And when you do punch, now I'm leaning forward a little bit, hoping not to hurt any camera angle. I mean, you gotta put the whole hip into it and snap it and get all your energy in there and make this into a weapon.
Well, a karate punch is like an iron bar, whang. A kung fu punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end, and it go whang, and it hurt inside.
Some people think power comes from big muscles. Others, well, they think it's a God-given gift. But what if I told you that there's one way to get more power in your punches, and that's to whip your punches? The best punches in MMA or boxing usually have punches that whip, and they are devastating. You look at Ali, Mcgregor, Inoue, Floyd, the list goes on. And in this video, I explain to you what a whipping punch is and how you can develop it. Well, what is a whipping punch? Well, think of a whip. As the whip is released, it's accelerating faster and faster and has a short recoil at the end where it snaps and can create a sonic boom. We can do the same thing with our body. First, you need to understand kinetic chains of a punch. We sit our weight into the ground a little bit to create a stretch shortening cycle in our legs where we can explode up from, pushing off the foot and pivoting. This allows us then to violently rotate our hips, then torso, then your shoulder, and then your arms released. And this is all done while trying to be as loose as possible. And at the end of this movement, our fist tightens just at the recoil of a whip. Because a whipping punch involves the whole body, we're utilizing torque, which increases our power. These punches usually look effortless, and you don't kill your shoulders as much compared to arm punching. Each part of the punch lags behind, creating that whipping motion. And some fighters whip their punch so much that they overextend their arm and let gravity do the work at the end. So how do we develop this? Well, first you need to be a relaxed fighter. Having tense muscles is counterproductive in this. And I know you're thinking, oh yeah, that's not me, I don't have tense muscles, but I know you do. And so do I. Right now, sitting on this chair, my back I can feel is tight. My traps are tight, my glutes are tight the longer I'm sitting down on this chair. I'll catch myself overthinking about stuff during the day. Certain muscles tightening. I'm usually watching something interesting, or when I'm editing a video I frown quite a lot. I'm so focused or I'm frowning that my face tightens up, and this all limits you when you go to fight and you're trying to be loose and whip your strikes. So you need to be doing mobility work daily. You need to try and reduce stress as much as possible. Keep your fascia healthy, and if you can, get massages or do some self-myofascial release. And let me know if you want me to make a more in-depth video on each of these in the future. Now that you understand what a whipping punch is and the first prerequisite for it, we can get into how to actually develop it. So what you need to do next is put an emphasis on the chains of your punch. Legs, hip, torso, arm, fist. Legs, hips, torso, arm, fist. You gotta keep saying that again and again until you get into your head. And you might be thinking, why did I miss out shoulder? What I believe is that when you think about the shoulder, your shoulder starts tightening when you're throwing that punch, and you're thinking of it like when you're a beginner and you think a punch is a shoulder press, and your shoulders tightens. And the more your shoulder tightens and is involved in the punch, the less loose it is and the less of a whip there is. You gotta imagine your shoulder doesn't even exist as you're throwing a punch. If you can get that feeling where it's almost like water and you're loose, you'll really get that whip. So try to not even think about your shoulder and the punch. It's like your body's doing everything and your arm just goes like a whip, and then you create that recoil and snap at the end by making your fist. So for example, when throwing your backhand, you sit into your punch a little bit, explode out as you're turning your foot, and your hip first moves violently. After your hips turned, then your torso lags behind and turns as well. And we see before this that there's a stretch in the body. This is what the kinetic chains are. As your torso turns, you can see the shoulder stretches as it's not even been released yet. This then whips your arm through, and then your arm travels through, accelerates, and then you make a fist just before you hit the opponent, where you get maximum power and precision if you have the skills. Again, you can see here how the hips turned, but the torso still hasn't turned, and there's that stretch across the body. This is so important. You need to not only do you need to be thinking legs, hips, torso, arm, fist, you need to be also thinking lag. Everything's a lag behind like a whip. First throw the hip and then effortlessly turn the torso and then the arm. It should almost be like that. You don't want to turn everything in one motion. If you're doing everything in one motion like this, there's no whip, there's no power. If you're whipping it, yeah, you see how, or you can't really see it here, but you can see in the video clips, I'm using my legs on the floor on my chair, then I'm pushing off it, throwing my hips and then my torso. You can see this stretch here, then the arm goes just like this, and I'll build up on that point a bit later. So you want to practice this slowly at first, not so slow that you can't get a whip, but you know, just relax, nice and relaxed. Just work on your backhand first. I find that the easiest to do, just your rear straight. So just practice your rear straight, sitting your weight in a little bit, or you can practice just less telegraphed without sitting your weight down, pushing off your foot, turning your hips, which then turns your torso, which then turns your arm, and then you make a fist at the end and then retract at the end. Then your jab, then your hooks, then your uppercut. Just making sure there's a nice chain of flow and everything lags behind. Each part needs to help each other. Your leg needs to help your hip, which helps your torso, which helps your arm. Make sure you have that lagging make sure you have the lag in mind. And then once you're doing that, you can try a couple simple combos, then go on the bag. Now the bag is where you're going to have resistance, where your arm's going to tire out, so you got to make sure, can you do this while you're fatiguing? Can you do it when you actually have something pushing against you and you're not just going to lean an arm punch on it, which a lot of people have a habit of doing on the bag. And once you got that, that's when you got to go into sparring and see if you can do it under pressure, because usually under pressure your technique withers a little bit. You're going to fatigue more as well. When you're tired, can you really be asked to think, oh, I need to whip this punch, or are you just going to try and get that punch to land just so you can score? And another way to get a whip in your punch is to practice throwing. Either actually throw something, or if you don't have something to throw, just mimic a throw. A punch is a throw, not a push. It's why we say you need to throw your punch. No one says push your jab out, push your punches out. A mechanic of throwing is very similar to a punch, your linear punch. The punch just has a tighter form as you release the arm. You can see here it's the same thing. Using the legs, using the kinetic chain, everything lags behind, more of a lag on the arm, and then it just whips at the end. And if you do this often, you can do it part of your warm-up before you train. You can do it in the morning, or just when you're bored on a rest day, just go and throw something, throw a ball to your dog, throw it with your friends, throw it against the wall. It will really help you develop that whipping feeling of your punch until it's second nature. Once it's second nature, then you can play around with it. You can play around with a stiff jab into a whipping right hand. You can play around whipping your punches and when to short and when to just pop shot instead. But yeah, doing this really helps you get that feeling, that feeling that some people it comes natural to. They will go into a boxing gym, MMA gym, and they just have that, and then people are like, oh yeah, wow, your punches are so good, you got this, you just have natural talent, while other people didn't have it and then they developed it. But the thing is, a lot of coaches, they don't really show this. A lot of people do this without realizing it because it came naturally to them and they're not able to explain it. You look at the top level fighters, they do a lot of stuff that is not taught, whether that's telegraphing their punch, bringing their elbow up before they punch, having their wrist locked not straight but slightly down because that's actually stronger. There's a lot of things that you won't get taught, that you need to either watch videos like this to learn, or you need to be watching the top level fighters and really breaking down what they're doing. So now you know what a whipping punch is, why it's important, how to train it, what you can be doing daily to help you, and hopefully after weeks and months of drilling and sparring, you start punching like the top level fighters. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, comment what other videos you want me to make. That will really help. I'll probably just make another video on a technique I've been working on soon, not really that much edited, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.